still remember the weight of that restaurant's silence. The way every facelift when my father-in-law laughed a little too loudly, clapped my shoulder a little too hard, and introduced me to his Japanese client like I was some decorative accessory he dragged along. That he spoke slowly, theatrically, as if narrating my incompetence to the room. "He doesn't understand Japanese," he bragged, waving his hand at me. "So speak freely." The client smiled politely. My wife smiled tightly, and I sat there deliberately empty-faced, letting them believe I was deaf to the language flowing around me. Then her father leaned closer to the client and said, something so casually cruel it sliced the air open. "He's gullible." Perfect. Once our plan goes through, he won't realize he signed away his shares until it's too late. My daughter will handle the rest. A soft laugh, a nod, a toast raised. I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink, but something inside me froze, then sharpened. The humiliation burned, but the betrayal carved deeper. And that's where the story truly begins. I married her because she felt like a quiet harbor, warm, soft-spoken, gentle in ways the world rarely allowed. She used to wait for me outside my office with coffee. She'd sit with meth-rough deadlines, tracing circles on my wrist to steady me. She said she admired me discipline, how I built my company from nothing. We built a life with small rituals, shared breakfasts, late-night movies. Her head on my chest while we talked about futures that felt bright. Her father always seemed distant, but I chalked it up to pride. The man built an empire. Maybe he didn't know how to show affection. Back then, I thought I had married into a family that tolerated me. Maybe would come to respect me. It's almost funny in retrospect how soft the lighting was before the shadows stretched. It began subtly, a shift in her gaze, a door she'd close before answering calls, whispers between her and her father that stopped whenever he entered the room, documents on her laptop disappearing when I walked by. Her phone suddenly locked with a code she refused to share, though she'd never cared before. She started coming home late, smelling of boardrooms and arguments she claimed were about work stress. But she flinched whenever I asked questions. A small, brittle recoil. I didn't accuse her. I observed quietly, methodically. I watched her father suddenly take an interest in my company, asking for details. Just curiosity, he'd insist. I noticed my wife's sudden knowledge of shareholders' temperaments. The way she asked about corporate bylaws like she was rehearsing a role. Little fractures, hairline cracks, whispers building a shape I refused to name until the dinner confirmed it. After the restaurant, I didn't confront them. I went silent, an internal hush so complete it terrified me. That night, while she showered, her phone lit up on the dresser. A message preview from her father. "Remember, make him sign it before the merger. Don't hesitate. He trusts you. Use that." My fist clenched, not with heartbreak, but with a cold, ringing clarity. Another message followed. "He'll lose everything. We'll absorb the company. Then you file for divorce. Clean exit." I stood there as steam drifted from the bathroom door. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't stutter. Inside me, something old and disciplined woke up. Something forged in the years I spent clawing my way out of poverty. Pain burned away, replaced by a stillness sharper than any blade. They underestimated the one thing they should have feared. My silence. Revenge eccentrage, its architecture. Over the next 2 months, I built mine brick by brick. She thought I was distracted, wounded, unaware. But I was resetting passwords, renegotiating silent partnerships, reassigning voting rights, moving assets into trusts she couldn't touch. I hired forensic accountants under NDAs tighter than steel. I gathered records of her father's illegal transfers, his unreported incomes, the shell company she used for tax evasion. I discreetly contacted their Japanese client. Turns out he despised my father-in-law's arrogance. A single meeting in fluent Japanese flipped him to my side. While my wife tried to study me, practice softness she no longer possessed, I secured evidence of her involvement in the planned corporate theft. Every smile I gave her was a mirror, reflecting exactly what she wanted to see. Every gesture was bait. I waited, cold, precise, patient. It happened during a board meeting her father insisted I attend. He brought the documents those believed would transfer majority control to him. My wife sat beside him, wearing a rehearsed blend of concern and affection. He slid the papers to me. "Just a formality," he said. I looked at me wife. She smiled softly like she peed me. Then I pushed the folder back. "You should read the revised version," I said calmly. Confusion flickered. The open edit. Inside were the documents I had prepared. Papers initiating a government investigation into his financial crimes, complete with evidence, timestamps, and recorded messages, including the ones hesent to my wife. Her blood drained from her face. I spoke in fluent, crisp Japanese to the client across the table. "Thank you for your cooperation." Gasps. Silence. Her father's jaw fell open, disbelief warping into panic. Security entered, escorted by government officers waiting in the hallway. My wife whispered, "You knew." I listened. Ire plied. She reached for me. Desperate, I stepped back. Everything they built on deception collapsed around them. Assaillant surgical implosion, and I walked out without looking back. The divorce was swift. She left the courtroom trembling. Her father faced charges that would stain his legacy forever. Ire claimed my company, my peace, my name. Some nights I sit on the balcony with the same brand of Japanese whiskey they once mocked me for ordering. I pour a single glass, not to remember them, but to honor the moment I stopped being their prey. I take one slow sip, look at city below, and allow myself a thin, quiet smile. Betrayal taught me one truth. Silence is not weakness. It's the perfect weapon.